What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski, and we are bringing you another banger episode right now. So I want to dive in because we got an incredible working actor in the house, now recurring on Get Scene Unscripted, Mr. Madi Kachi. What's up,
What's up,
man?
man? Good to be back here. It's see a couple of changes happen. Happy to see it.
Yeah, bro. Well, it's dope, man. It's you are you're also a mentor
Yep.
on the team, and so we're having our kind of like New Year's kind of appreciation team dinner, and so you're in
Looking forward to
town, but
that.
then you're also happen to be in town working, so I like grabbed you. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
bro,
good
come back on the
timing.
show.
Sometimes things just work out properly, and you're always happy about that.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Well, one of the things that I want to talk about is like exactly kind of what you're doing right now, because you're spending like a lot of time in Los Angeles now. I mean, you're just doing some solid back and forth. Like we spent some time in Atlanta and then Tampa together not
Yep.
long ago.
Yep.
And so you're really bouncing back and forth, but you're spending a lot of time in LA. And so you came out here for a job, but I found it so kind of remarkable because it's a modified low or a ULB or what, it's a modified low. It's not a full
Um,
sag.
correct.
Yeah, and
Correct.
like
Yeah, I forget what the terminology, but like it's one of the low budget
yeah,
projects.
and so I just was like, damn, because obviously you're a series regular on Bruh, and I feel like we have this idea that we get to this point, and now there's no turning back.
Yeah.
Like I am what I am, and I was a series regular, so like, can you kind of talk about how that journey's been for you so far?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, there's this thing that takes on different forms. Just our experience in this industry takes on many different forms. And there's a lot of beauty in that and growth and learning. And what I found for like through this experience is working is always better than not working. It just because I've tried both, and I've turned down jobs that I've been offered for different reasons, maybe rate or just whatever, you didn't really want to do it or you had some conflicts, and I love doing this. So the essence of this is like I'm happy to be on set always. And sometimes, sure, the experience is going to be less than stellar because maybe you're going to have some type of conflict with somebody else on set. Maybe it's one of the actors, maybe it's the director, maybe, different visions. There's all kinds of potential challenges that exist, but a day on set is still better than a day not on set. For me, it always has been, right? And then you get to a certain place where, when things are moving, it's like they're moving and you're like, I can't even do all these jobs. And then sometimes when you got to turn things down, you got to turn things down. But sometimes you're like, is this thing on? Is my phone working? What's happening here? Right. And the challenge with those moments is you find this self doubt creeps in and you question yourself more and the confidence starts to falter and all kinds of stuff happens internally, mentally. So in this situation, I just found this was like in this particular project that I'm working on, I really liked the script. It was, I liked the fact that, you know, the people who were making it have a vision and they're like striving for something. Like there's things where you start to connect with the story of it just like you would in a story of a script or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this project. And it was inconvenient, you could say, because like I had to travel and I was out of town for the holidays and
And you're
so
working local.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
was getting the local rate, so to come to Atlanta, I had to come from DC and then work and then it was like a couple of days the next week and I had to go and I went and saw family in between and then came back and worked again. And it was but my experience has been great. My experience on the set has been great. Like everyone's
Did
fantastic.
you audition?
Um,
Or was it an offer?
it was an offer.
Okay.
It was an
Yeah.
offer.
Well, at
So
least there's that.
there's that, right? It's
There's
great. I
that. I
mean,
mean,
it was offered based on seeing the reel, and I was, so again, an old wise man once said, "Like who likes you." So
mm,
there's something about being chosen that is valuable as well. Whether you audition and you're chosen off that, or you're just chosen off the offer or whatever, it's like somebody is saying, "Hey, you, I want you," and the essence of that is still why we do this, partially why we do this. Like to, we want people to appreciate what we bring to the table. And the first step of that appreciation is you're being chosen. Now, I get it. People say, oh, that's kind of pick me. And, we're in this pick me economy. And that's true. But I mean, let me ask you, does it feel good being picked?
for sure.
It
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
freaking
No,
great. It feels great. And, like many times, usually when I'm not being picked as often, I'm really like opposed to this kind of like, I can't be just like reliant upon being chosen. And it's true. That's 100% true. So like that instinct that creeps in is not misguided. I think that's true. We don't want to find ourselves reliant upon this. But we're doing this to share. We're being of service. We're being of service to the story. We're being of service to an audience of others. Like you can't act in a vacuum because who's gonna receive the story that you're sharing? So we want people to appreciate the story. It's not, maybe it can be tied to ego, but I think it's greater than that when you're really doing this well, which is like, no, I have something to share, and you appreciate someone that receives what you're sharing. Like if I said, hey, Jesse, go to this restaurant, it's fantastic. And you go and you're like, yo, Marty, it was so good. I feel good. It's not my ego. It's like, oh, I like that. What I liked and I shared with you, you appreciate it too. So there's something to say about that same thing with like this work. It's like, hey, I like what you bring to the table for this part. Come and, like play with us on this. And I'm like, yeah, I would like that. You want that always. I know some of the greatest moments I've had on sets were just like feeling the appreciation for the work from, and again, it's not that the ego, it's like, hey, I'm working on this. I'm not phoning this in, and somebody notices and sees that. So I'm tying all that back to the idea of being chosen for something. And that's valuable in and of itself. So, and as we all know, booking jobs ain't easy. It's a challenge, and it's not always going to come to us. So it's nice when someone says, "Hey, I want you to come and play this part," and you say, "Yeah, I'd like to. Let's make it happen. Let's work it out."
I think that's dope. I agree. So what do you feel like has changed though? Because you were like, I mean, not that you still wouldn't turn things down, obviously, but so someone might be like, what? He's working local on this, like not even full SAG thing. Like, sure, it was an offer only, but still, I would have turned that down. That's crazy. And you said that you turned things down in the past. Like, how do you think things have changed? Or, earlier,
Yeah.
downstairs we talked about like kind of the seasons that we're in. So what do you like? What has changed for you?
So now I did 4 seasons on Bruh, and that was a great experience, and it was like life changing in terms of career changing and life changing. But also when that's happening, when you're like winning financially off this work, and you have something that's constant and challenging, then you have certain needs met and fulfilled. And that's both financial needs and also needs of
Like artistic
doing this
needs.
work
Yeah.
artistically.
Yeah.
And so at that time, there were certain things that I turned down. Um, and sometimes, I've turned down projects because we couldn't agree on a rate. So even after I booked it, it was like, okay, cool, we want this. And they're like, oh, we only have this. And it's like, okay, well, thanks, but no thanks. Now, even that, I think it's not, there's never regret. It's empowering actually to turn things down as well, just like it's empowering to book things. And part of the reason is because, hey, we establish what it is that we're trying to do or that we want to do. But the needs are met because I can leave this. And in a way, it's doing a service because it's like I'm leaving this opportunity, this job on the table for another actor who's going to be so happy to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Like if you're not getting the rate that you want, you're not going to be as happy doing it. You're like, I feel like I'm not being valued at my worth,
Yeah.
while somebody else comes in and is like thrilled.
They're so happy.
That's a cool way to look at it.
Because we wouldn't even know it, but we've probably all been on the receiving end of bookings that like somebody else may have turned down. That's why it came our way. And that's good. That's a great thing, I think. So there's no shame in turning it down, or it's not like now I'm like, ooh, I wish I wouldn't have. I'm happy that everything has happened the way it happened, But also when those needs are being met and fulfilled, it's easier to say, I'm not that interested in this one, or maybe I'm interested in this one, but let's sweeten the pot. If you can't, then thanks, but no thanks, or whatever. I remember there was a modeling job that was like, I just didn't. It was like, a 5-figure job. It was pretty nice. And yeah, it's print work. It's not that challenging, so to speak, but I just didn't appreciate the terms. It was like, it was long. The usage was longer than I would have liked it to be. And it actually was because I was modeling before I was ever acting. So turning down that modeling job, and I didn't, that's a big rate for modeling, right? Like it's not what normally I was making. You make maybe a couple thousand on a job. So, but the terms just felt a little long. And when they wouldn't negotiate, I was like, I turned it down, and it felt like, I'm good, because that money at the time wasn't going to make or break me. So it was like I didn't need it. And the job would have been fun, but I'll sit this one out. And somebody else probably got super happy about it.
For sure.
But that's the place at the time where you are. Now, when you're kind of, again, waiting for the phone to ring and you're looking like, what the heck? And then earlier, a couple of months back, I booked a film that was filming 6 days, and day one of that filming ended up being, and they changed the date last minute, but that conflicted with a commercial that I had already booked. So I was shooting 1 day on this commercial, 6 days on this movie. I'm like, oh, sweet, things coming in at the same time. And then at the last minute, oh, by the way, your day one is not X, it's Y. And Y was the day I was already shooting the 1 day commercial. So I'm like, I can't. And they're like, okay, sorry, next. So that was kind of not fun because I was looking forward to that. And, it had been a while since I've been back on a film and TV set. Commercials are great, but they're, we all know they're kind of for the money, and it's fun, but it doesn't fill up your cup the same way that being on set to tell a story for film and TV does. So that was another reason why it was like, like in this game, we want to grab momentum from the jobs that come our way, the opportunities, and one will keep you going for a while. So, that one that kind of fell through my grasp, so to speak, it was it kind of hurt just because I already felt like I was overdue. So I felt like, perfect. I'm due for this. And then when that couldn't happen, I was like, now I'm overdue. The next one's coming soon. And then like a couple other close opportunities, and then not. And then when this came along, it was like, what, this timing is perfect.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it's like things, so it's like, yeah, if you had done that film and everything, like it worked out the way it was supposed to work out, right? Maybe you don't take this film, like because you're like in a different place,
possibly,
like artistically almost.
True, possibly, right? Yeah. It's because that's true. We don't know where we're gonna be until we're there, so it's hard to say. It's like now having done it and filmed it, it's like, I wouldn't have turned this down knowing what it was, but we don't know before going into it. And maybe we're like, I'm kind of content or at least, satiated in a certain way. So that's where, yeah, that's a good point. It's like that's like a butterfly effect, or
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you know what? I mean, you know what I love about this is like you and bro, and I literally just talked about this in a solo episode I did, which is like being flexible in your career
Yeah,
of like your wants and your needs and like what you're like essentially kind of your standards are almost. It's
yeah,
like, at one point you're like, this is where I'm at. And then 6 months down the line, you're like, well, based on how you feel artistically,
yep,
whether or not you want to be local or not local, maybe the standard goes up or goes down.
yep,
And like you're fine with that, and you're not like losing confidence in yourself. You're not like, oh, well, now I'm not worthy, or now I'm shitty, or you're not thinking any of that. You're just like, this is where I am right now. And so like I love that flexibility. I think it's like so important, especially in this, because if you get to that point where you're like, well, I've done a bunch of co-stars and now I only want to do guest star, or I booked a series regular, so now I'm really only going to be doing series regulars. Like I think
yeah,
that's just a formula to not work.
yeah. It's true, and I've heard the stories of very specific incidents where this type of thing has happened, and it's gotten back to casting that like the actor turned down their uh, audition invitation because they kind of wanted to. I don't need to be doing co-stars, whatever, and casting doesn't appreciate it because they got a job to do and they're trying to fill these parts and they think you could potentially fill it, and you don't want to help them do their job, and it makes them resentful to you, and that's a real thing that exists. And also, like you said, there's like this, there's this idea that we're never going back, but there's also this idea.
Why do you think that is? Right? Because like that is, you're absolutely right. It's like this idea that we go forward, but we never like go back. And it's like, it's just like not like each project is like a separate hire,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that, like, I understand the idea of like moving in the forward direction, but here's the thing and this is what actually was in my head when for this particular job and this particular incident we're talking about, was like, go with what got you here. And if we're going with what got us here, what got me here was like a relentless hustle and desire to where it's like, whatever it takes, I gotta get in the game. And that included, I know we've talked about it before, but that included like taking mega buses and doing whatever you know what I mean? We're trying to get there and we're trying to sacrifice to do it. And then
my standard is above Megabus now.
it
I'm
is.
not doing.
It
I'm
is. We
not
can't
doing
like
Megabus.
listen. So now we may travel. I may have been in the first class lounge on the way here, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's just like working and like having to sacrifice to do it. I think is value, and I think the energy of that is very valuable. And again, sometimes you don't have to sacrifice to do it, which is fine. You're working and you don't have to maybe sacrifice to do another job, like we said. And cool. So turn that down. The next guy can get it and win. But even in the industry climate in general, you're looking at it and they're saying a big reason why a lot of actors have been maybe slower in the past year or couple of years than in the past is because industry changes and a lot of names or successful working series regular whatevers are now taking guest stars or doing other things because there's fewer opportunities. So therefore, it's kind of the industry is we're all responding to what the industry is giving us. So in a way, you're like, yes, we don't want to move backwards, but we also want to work. Above all things, I do, right? So then what does that require? And sometimes it requires, okay, am I going to take a lower rate? Am I going to travel on my own dime for a job? Am I gonna take a smaller part? Maybe I wanted to be the lead and I'm gonna take a supporting or whatever. I think that like that's all it's all part of it.
Dude, I really, really like this because it's like, I think like at the end of the day, when you are working in this business, you need to understand that you are sacrificing
Yeah.
all of the time. And it's just at what point, like, where are you in your journey on what you're sacrificing? Because like you think about how yeah, we used to do the mega bus, but now we're like not do the mega bus.
Yeah.
While somebody else watching this is like, no, I definitely do the mega bus for a job. No questions asked. I don't care. I'll sleep in my car. I'll do anything. And we're
Yeah.
like, we ain't sleeping in no cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice, but we are willing to make other sacrifices,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe I have a vacation booked and I'm like, I can move that vacation. Where
Right,
maybe somebody
right.
else is like, I'm not moving my vacation. I haven't been on a vacation in 3 years. There's no
True.
way.
It's
So
true.
and then I think all the way to like on set as well, like sacrificing, your vision of what the character might be. The director might change it. The vision on how you thought the scene was. You might have to make a sacrifice on that. You might have to make a sacrifice on the types of people you're working with and how you don't like to work
Yeah.
with them, or the type of trailer you have. I'm like, actually, like as we're talking about this, I'm just like, I think you have to understand that in this, you're always, always, always making sacrifices. And you need to decide that you are not better than the sacrifices. Now, you can change, different
Yeah.
levels on, hey, I'm willing to work local everywhere. I'll put myself up in Texas, LA, New York, Atlanta, Miami, everywhere. I don't care. But then that might begin to change. You know what? I'm done.
True.
I'm done taking these freaking flights everywhere and like essentially making a few $100s on these things. And so I don't know. I never thought of it like that. That like we're always sacrificing, and like if you don't see yourself making some sacrifices, you're probably not thinking correctly to be
100%.
successful in this.
To be successful, because that's going to require that. And like you said, the sacrifice is required, but I think not to a certain point of sacrifice in integrity, because we
Yeah.
have that too. So if you feel, and whatever your integrity line is, it can be anything. It could be the money. Maybe you're like, I feel like if I take a job for less than X dollars, then I'm just cheapening myself and I can't sleep at night.
But then also be willing to be flexible, like we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Totally do that. And if you do that a couple times and you're like, well, this don't seem to be working, then
But then it might change. Maybe
Right.
the X amount change.
Exactly,
Maybe it's like, I
yeah.
wouldn't do it for less than 10,000. Wouldn't do it less than 5,000, right? I mean,
Yeah.
reasonably, that may change depending. Like they said, if you need the money, if a man's hungry, then like he gonna eat, whether it requires steal. I'll never steal, but if I need to eat, I might steal, right? So we're always gonna be, and sometimes we get like, we need to fill something for ourselves, right? Maybe it's like, I just want to fill I want this type of challenge. I want to take on a part that's like way outside of my personal life. So I want to feel like I am stretching myself. And maybe that's not coming across your table. What's coming across your table, maybe lucratively, look like a Matthew McConaughey situation. Obviously his story's famous, but he was getting these parts because he's phenomenal at playing these rom-coms. Like, we're going to pay you top dollar to do this because you're so good. And he's like, yeah, we're going to sweeten the pot. I want to do this. So he had to sacrifice.
yeah.
It got up to like 15
Dude,
million.
it was crazy. Yeah.
And he was like, no,
Yeah.
and that's, yeah, sure. You're like, maybe that's easy to sacrifice. He's already rich, but it's still 15 minutes. Like, whatever it is,
Yeah.
like that's not easy for him in the situation, because he can do that and he can make great money doing it.
But even that, right? So his standard, right, changed artistically.
Yeah.
He's like, my standard now for the type of role I'm doing is up here, and these roles are here, and this is the standard I'm sticking at.
Yeah.
And obviously for him it worked out, right? But like I'm sure there's other times that maybe it hasn't worked out, right? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, after 5 years, he's like, I'm gonna bring that standard back down so I could work again.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Obviously for him that did work, right? But I'm sure there's cases where it didn't. But the whole point is like our standard it's like this level, like on like a sound mixer, you know?
Yeah.
And we're constantly on these different things that are part of it, of rate, of quality, or how you feel in the role artistically,
Yep.
to how we're traveling, to how we're being treated, to like all these things. I feel like these levers are just kind of going up and down
Mhm.
constantly.
It's true. And you gotta like,
Where's your lever with like working local? Because I feel like right now the business is like, like you got to work local everywhere, bro. I feel like they're like rarely. I mean, you had to work local on this one, obviously, but like, where do you feel like you are? I know you came out for this one, but like, where are you at? Because I feel like I always talk about like, and especially if in the Southeast, like you're just a road warrior. You're just kind of
yeah,
built different,
yeah,
especially if you were in this business like 10 years ago and
yeah.
you were just going, we were going everywhere, and now I feel like you just gotta like, I don't know. I don't know. At least where I'm at in my career, it's like, do I really want to work local everywhere? I don't know. Like, do I want to be like, nah, for this place, y'all gonna have to fly me out. I mean, I did just say I worked local in Fort Lauderdale, but,
Mm.
um, but you know what? That's on the artistic thing. I'm like, I've never done a project like this
Yep.
in an environment like this, because you got to like do roles like stuff in the ocean and stuff. I'm like, that's kind of dope. I'm
See?
like, I kind of like that idea, and so like I want to do it. But anyway, but where do you feeling like local wise?
I mean, I think the same as the point you brought up is that it depends. I know that's not a concrete answer, but it depends, because what is the project? What is the locality? Because you might be a reason to go to a place. Oh, my aunt lives there. Let's do it, right? Like, or maybe it's like, hey, I've never been to this place, or there's a bunch of reasons where you may consider, and there's other reasons why you might not. So that's why it's hard to draw a hard line. I mean, obviously, here's what I will say. I've taken jobs locally and paid my own time to actually get there and figure out where to stay and all this. And I've also been flown for jobs and gotten hotels. Is much nicer.
Dude, it's so much better when you're flown.
So much better.
It's the best.
Dude, there's a dude at the airport with the black suit on and your name on a thing. Like, it's like, for the ego, it feels amazing.
It really
right?
does.
You're like, oh, me? You're hopping in the back of the big Suburban or whatever.
Oh yeah, bro.
And it's just you, and it's just, that's fantastic. So,
And hold on. And the driver usually talks about like some famous person that they've like picked up in the past.
Exactly.
And you're like, this is the life
I'm on the way.
Yes.
I'm on the way.
Yes.
Soon you're gonna be talking about me, buddy. Like, it's true.
Yeah, bro.
It's so great. And like, so if you said, do I want to work locally or do I want to always get flown in? I always want to get flown in. It's always better. And I always want lodging. I always want all of that. Plus you get per diem and you get a little more, everything is going to be more in your favor. But then it's, somewhat we're trying to maybe sneak an advantage, right? If the advantage is, well, the production is saving money by not paying for the driver and the big Lincoln and the per diem and the hotel. So they're trying to book this locally to save the production a couple of dollars. Well, the mathematics of it then makes sense that I can have an advantage to maybe get considered because I'm saving them money. And that's then that's where we have to decide where we want to be in that game. Now, ideally, you're not always in that place. And this is what we said, like, sure, you work locally. You're like, I'll work locally in any town. I'll do anything. I'll pay them to book a gig because I just want to get gigs. I want to build. And then eventually you're like, Okay, I've done that. I've paid some dues. I've worked locally in a lot of cities. I've built a little resume. I've built some skill set. I've built some relationships. Now those things should have value that I've built. So therefore, I want to be compensated for those things. That's a reasonable progression. That's a reasonable move.
But I think it's important to remember that as the production, it's a business,
Yep.
right? And that like your role falls into a category. So I feel like what a lot of people think when it comes to the local thing is they're like, yo, I know they got the $300, right, for the hotel room, or I know they got the, I know they got the $500 for a flight and $100 for the Lincoln, but it's not necessarily true. That's not how they're looking.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. They do have $500. You're correct. I 100% agree that they got
They got the
$500.
money.
But like, it's not about that. It's about you're in this category. So if they're doing it for you, why are they not doing it for that entire category? So $500 is not $500.
Right.
It's $5,000, right?
Right.
And I do think that's something that a lot of people kind of forget when they just think about like, yeah, I booked my own flight. It was only $350. Like, why couldn't they just do that? And it's like, well, that's not exactly how it works, I
Set a
think,
precedent. Right. Right. They established, hey, this is, like you said, this is what co-stars this is what we're doing for co-stars, then that's what they're doing.
All right, hold on. I hope you are enjoying this episode so much, but I have something very important to tell you. It is our Southeast Actor Summit is coming up February 27th, 28th, March 1, 2026. This is our 3-day in-person event right here in Atlanta. It takes place at the Sandy Springs Performing Arts Center. And if you want an event that is absolutely going to motivate you, inspire you, and light a fire underneath your booty to really make 2026 your best actor year ever, then you have to be in attendance. Again, each day we have our main stage events that include some of the top industry pros in the Southeast and casting directors and agents. And on day one, we bring in some of the top instructors around the Southeast to do these different breakout workshops. You get to decide what your day looks like. And so what's so cool about this is this event will look different for each and every person because you can choose which workshop you want to be a part of. There's a whole smorgasbord of different workshops. On day 2 is Industry Pro Day, where it's the same thing, a bunch of different workshops. However, they're all run by industry pros. So I want you to think about this right now and imagine what your actor journey for 2026 would look like if you had the support of being able to meet hundreds of other actors that could be part of your community. When it comes to learning from some of the top agents and casting directors in the business here in the Southeast, the people that are in this working every single day. Where would your acting career be if you had this type of knowledge, wisdom, and motivation taking you into the rest of the year? So right now we are in an early bird special. So I want you to head to the link right now and check out that price because you're going to be blown away. And do not forget to use the promo code PODSUMMIT. That's right, one word, Pod Summit, and that's going to save you $20 at checkout. So February 27th, 28th, March 1, the Southeast Actor Summit. I will see you there and we'll be inspired together. Like they've done the budget ahead of time.
Yeah.
And like, sure, I'm sure there's like also a budget line over here for like extra stuff. And, they're going to pull from it.
Yeah.
And maybe they pull from it for you, but, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
And I guess that's where we, sometimes we have to test what is our market value, so to speak. Like what lines can we draw where accommodations will be made? And what lines can we draw where they're like, all right, well, we got to go with someone else. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's nice to know that. And it's nicer to know that when you don't need the money. Like I said, in the experiences where I have turned down a job and they moved on. And I was fine with that because I was okay with not getting the part, not getting the money, not getting the everything. But cool, we've kind of tested the limit. That's true. Sometimes maybe they're bluffing. and you think, they got some more in there? Are they really going? You know what I mean? And hey, I mean, I don't, and that's between you and your agent. And your agent, listen, all this too, I mean, your agent is not in charge, you're in charge, but your agents are there for a reason too. So take their advice. If they're advising, I just don't think we should do the local on this. I think you should hold out for whatever. It's up to you. So you can tell them, wrong, I'm going to do it this way. But take that into consideration, because if they're a good agent, they're not trying to lead you astray. They're trying to lead you into something that's more beneficial to you and them financially, So ultimately, these are the considerations. But I think a good agent will support you. I know mine, for example, was like 100%. He's like, hey, I know this ain't a big money job, but I'm happy if you want to do it. 100%, we support that. We want you to work too. So they want me to fill the cup that I want to fill, which is meaningful. That's actually like so valuable to have someone on your team that you feel like they're going to ride with me regardless, because they're taking care of me. I'm going to take care of them. But yeah, this isn't going to be a big money job, but I still want to do it, or I still want to do it locally. And they might be like, hey, you sure? Because you're going to be losing X, Y, Z.
Well, there's momentum in that.
Yeah.
There's momentum in being on set and booking, and whether it's something that like you feel and it's like subliminal, right? Or something that like your agent, pitches, hey, he just got off set doing blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, he's, maybe casting or the producers think like he's hot, I don't know, bro. I keep thinking of our levers on the sound bar or the sound mixer, right? Of how they always like, and now I feel like, oh, momentum's on there too.
Yes.
Like how, where are you at on like momentum, and like, are you like, oh, I got momentum, so me, trying to create momentum so I can bring that down, so I can be a little bit harder, right? And it's like, oh, I haven't been working, I need to get momentum, so I need to put more effort out. I feel like that's even like a little knob on this
100%
thing.
a knob. I mean, momentum's underrated. I think. I think that it's like, it's a lot. Momentum is valuable, because when you're in the flow, kind of, it's like, oh, got this job, oh, boom, another avail check, another job, another callback, another, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, like something's clicking, and then your confidence goes up, and it's like there's intangible levels of what ends up being involved in that. But it's great. I mean, so yeah, if we need to up the momentum lever, and maybe we can tone down the money. And what's funny? When we talk about energy in general, so this energy, like, I'm doing this job locally, paying money to like, figure out rentals and flights and all that stuff. But during this experience, like, I received like a large unexpected residual payment. Do you know what I mean? From something that I didn't expect to come. Like, and again, that's just part of the game. I get it, right? It would have happened anyway. I get it, right? But I do kind of believe, like, like, and if you believe in God or how you get down, it's like you make the decisions that support like what it is that you want to do, and God will provide, through whatever avenue. So it's like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to commit to something. I'm going to commit to this work that I do. I'm going to go after this, and hey, cool. It's not paying you a lot of money. Well, here's some money. You know what I mean? Like,
Man. That's great. And I agree. And I think like, there's like, I mean, there's something about like a belief. Hey, all right, everyone get out. Everyone out. Come on. Y'all not gonna just lay down.
You're saying there's something about a belief.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's like something also about that belief, because they're like tying that to the momentum thing. And actually, hold on. You called?
I'm good.
Oh, you good?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Turn it down?
Yeah.
My phone and stuff. It's like nice and chilly in here, but at the same time, it's like where you don't sweat. It's just like
that's why I like to we actually like did the zone, so like I can put the entire air conditioning to only go up here.
Really?
Yeah. So, cause bro, it would
Wait a
not.
second. You zoned your HVAC to just this room?
Well, like in that room, like so, like just upstairs.
Ah, which is your bedroom?
No, that's the taping room.
Where's
So
your
like,
bedroom? Downstairs?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
sick.
So
That's
and
cool.
like so that yeah, so like at night it just goes to like the bedroom. That
Ah,
is zoned with just like the bathroom, and like the laundry room.
nice. And like, yeah, you want to get
So
under the covers, you
yeah,
want it to cool.
and then yeah, bro, because we would do stuff up here and it would just never get cool.
Hmm.
And then the middle floor would be freezing.
Oh, because it was all one zone at one time.
Yeah,
Ah, so
so we got
smart,
it zoned as the best.
smart play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, sorry, Candace, that was a long one. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I feel like there's like more to the energy and like the momentum thing is like there's just like a specific kind of like belief, you know? Like for me, like how where I always want to have my momentum, and this actually is interesting because I'm like, oh, do I want to shift this? But I like to always, and I feel like I've had a pretty good career where I have been able to essentially live by this. And the idea is I always have something, like if you want to think of it as like a gun, I don't know. Like I always have something like in the chamber,
Mm.
you know, is like, so like I either like essentially like always have something to talk about, right? So if you're like, how's the business for you? I'm like, oh, I'm about to go film Mayor of Kingstown. But what's great about that booking, right, is that it's pretty extended. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I just got done filming. Two, then it turns into, oh, I'm in the new season of Mayor of Kingstown that's coming out,
Yeah.
right? And then once it comes out, I don't know, you got like a month or two. Oh, I was just in the last episode, the last season of Mayor of Kingstown. So it gives you a good kind of run. But then after that, it's kind of gone.
I hear you.
You know, so like there's got to
That's
be
great.
something. There's got to be something else in the chamber, right? So I'm like, I finished Mayor of Kingstown, pretty much at that, and then like I booked this new commercial, right? So then it's like, hey, what's been going on? I'm like, oh, I just did this Valley Bank commercial, and I got this Boar's Head commercial film airing right now. Like and so that's what I
We
always
did Valley
think.
Bank?
Mhm.
Congrats, dude.
Yeah, bro.
I was on the Valley.
Oh shit! Well, it would have been the same. It wasn't the same thing. There's a
No,
lot of
that's
roles
a-
on that.
Oh, that's right. There's many different days. We
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't have been there.
But
That's cool.
and so like so it's like always want like, so to me that's like what the momentum looks like.
Yeah.
Always have something in the chamber.
Yeah. And that's the great breakdown. I like that a lot. It's like you get so much cachet from these bookings.
But
right?
use them.
Yeah.
I feel like people
Yeah.
don't use it. They're just like, I booked this thing like months ago. I'm like, if it hasn't come out, that's perfect. Like you
Yeah,
have
it's
like
true.
you know, like a big movie that's gonna take a year to edit. You get to talk about that shit for a year.
It's so true.
Like-
it's like what is on the way, right?
Yeah.
And if you got something on the way, something in the works, yeah. So having one in the chamber, I like that a lot. And that's, you know, if we're doing our bars here on
Yeah.
on the editing board or soundboard, it's like, yes, we want something on deck. So if I got something on deck, maybe I'm like, you know what, I'm fine. Or I'm a little more playing a little more hardball on this part. But if I don't have something on deck, okay, I want to make this part happen at all costs
Mhm.
because
I gotta get something.
I got to get something in the chamber. And that's,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. It makes perfect sense because, yeah, this is how we move. We want to, it's continuous motion. That's what momentum is, right? So once we get stagnant, it just feels different,
Yep.
you know? And it's not a feeling I like. I don't think anyone likes it. Not
Mm.
anyone in this game.
No,
You
no,
know?
no, man.
It's like, would you rather have the problem of, oh, I gotta film all day today and tomorrow, and I got 3 auditions I gotta film the next day, and then I gotta do like these are better problems to always have than like I'm just sitting here and like nothing's coming my way, and that's a problem. We always prefer the problems of like too much that we gotta manage it.
Oh yeah,
You know?
that's the problems we want.
That's the problems we want. It's because it includes momentum. And you know, I was in the Navy, was having some ahead momentum, you can steer the ship. Because if the ship is moving, a little rudder, now it turns. If the ship is at standstill, the rudder does nothing. You're just still sitting. If you're drifting, if it's drifting and you do this, it's still drifting. But if you're moving in the forward direction and there's wash going on that rudder, a slight angle change. So when you have some momentum, you just got more maneuverability.
Dang, that's good. I like that.
And
That's so good. Because
Thanks,
I
I just
think
came up with that.
that,
But but you know what I mean?
you
It's
gotta
like
start telling the
if you think
mentees that,
if
bro.
you think nautically, like that's true. Like we want some momentum because then we can move. If you're sitting still, dangerous. Think about being on the highway. I was having this
Oh yeah.
conversation the other day, and it's like pulling over on the highway to me is like super dangerous. You know, some people are like, oh, I got to check my directions. I'm gonna pull over on the highway. I'm like, I don't like that because now I'm
Mm-mm.
sitting and people are going 80. Now, if someone's going 80 and they're on their phone and they're not paying attention, I'm parked where no one's expecting people to park. That's the emergency lane. I could get blasted from behind at 80. Not comfortable. People drive crazy all the time, but if I'm moving and someone's driving crazy, ooh, I can avoid them because I got some momentum. If I'm
Right.
just sitting still, looking at where is that direction? Bam! I didn't even see it coming. You know, I don't like that. I like to be in motion because then I can maneuver in the way that makes sense.
Bro, that's so good. I love that. Those are
All
great
connects, man.
analogies,
It all
dude. Those are
connects.
great analogies of like I didn't think about like having momentum and you like taking that action creates more like mobility or it creates an easier direction,
Yeah,
but it's so true. It's so true.
yeah. I mean, even think about
Even
conversations.
if you're taking action that's not the correct action, you're like, but then like you learn that's not right, so
Exactly.
like you're like, oh wait, I gotta do this instead. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like yeah, bro, that's so good.
Exactly. And think about when you're in motion in this career, right? Like you always want a good relationship with your reps, managers, agents, all that stuff. But bookings, motion is always going to facilitate that conversation better. You know, actors, we're always, I don't know how to talk to my agent. How do I approach him? How do I, whatever? It's like, yeah, it's difficult, right? You want to find the balance. You want to be able to talk to them, but you don't want to bother them. And you want to, like, show them your pride and value and all this stuff. But when you got motion and they're calling you about bookings or about, whatever, then it's always an easier conversation to have. It develops from the motion, not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? At least in my experience, maybe other people have developed motion from their relationships with their reps. Me, I've always developed a relationship with my reps from emotion,
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's hard for me to see it the other way around because what do I really? I kind of just don't even feel like what's the reason for the agent to give me a lot of their time? I'm not providing them with dollar value. But when you're in motion, you got some bookings, and it's like, yeah, what do you got to say?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can make more moves, and even or if you need to get a new agent, I got motion, I got this, I got one in the chamber, I got this I just did, I
Yeah.
got this coming out, and this whatever that just filmed, and now I got something to talk about when I'm trying to get this rep.
Bro, I feel like that's one of the things I'm starting to I've brought up in the mentorship and we'll just do a quick coaching right now. But it's like like we have like a cover letter and all the stuff that we work on in the materials to help actors get agents, but I'm like, I feel like certain people are getting to a point because it's getting so challenging here in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like sometimes that's even not working. And I'm like, well, then the next thing is like this, is like you got to get one in the chamber. You got to have some stuff to talk about. You got to have this type of,
Yeah.
work momentum. And that's the thing that then we need. And there's so much stuff now. I mean, you really can create it yourself. You do
Yeah.
have the ability to do that. But yeah, I feel like I've been talking to people about that lately.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not always easy to create the motion, but here, this is an example. It's like if the opportunity is stagnation or motion, I'm going to take motion, even if it maybe isn't filling up the money bucket or
Yep.
whatever, because I got to slide that momentum knob up.
But yeah, I mean, but really it's just you understanding that, So I think like so many people don't understand that. They're like only thinking about the money knob or whatever,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
But Marty, I love this concept so much. I love it so much. But we got to get to the spotlight sign off, which is 5 questions to end strong.
Oh, so,
Otherwise,
okay, yeah, that's right,
otherwise
that's right.
we're gonna be here. You're gonna miss a flight. We're gonna miss dinner. I don't know. But question one is, what's something you're super grateful for today?
Today, I'm grateful for good friendships. Grateful for good friendships. Good friend of mine allowed me to stay in their home. I'm here with a good friend, having a conversation, like I said, could last all day. Very, very grateful for that.
Hell yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't know if this will be a different answer. I feel like for people coming back, I maybe need to change this question, but we'll see. But what is a book, television show, or film that changed the trajectory of your life?
Hmm. Let me think about that. Huh. I'm thinking back to my childhood now, or high school or middle school, or whenever that was. But I'm gonna say Carlito's Way, because my buddy and I we watched that movie, and we would like do all the lines. You know what I'm saying? That was sort of like my first foray into like attempted acting, and it's just I'm trying to just mimic Al Pacino in all the scenes. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying? But I don't know, there was something about that, because what's interesting is like I don't even think it's Pacino's best work. I don't think I mean I love the movie, but you know you can point to others that Pacino was better in, but that just it just really connected with. I thought like he was like so cool in it. It was different from other parts that he had played, and I liked there was a lot of like one-liners in that. So I guess my first attempt at acting was like trying to mimic Pacino in Carlito's Way. So
Dope.
that you know I shifted. It's funny, like when I first got my act, this is still a buddy of mine to this day. We've been friends since 8th grade, and you know, you know, it's like it's funny. Like I talk, it's like, yo, we came a long way since Carlito's Way. It's you know, it's kind of that was a real poignant movie in adolescence. I'd say, yeah.
Nice. I love that. I love that. What's something in your daily routine that you really cherish?
Um, prayer, prayer.
Nice. What's something you're trying to improve in your life right now?
My ability to communicate. That needs work.
That needs that needs work. Um, and if you wanted everyone to like really have a solid takeaway, maybe something based that we already talked about, or maybe something we haven't talked about, what would you want that takeaway to be?
Hmm. Um, in the theme of what we've been talking about, it's just like continue on the path that you feel is fulfilling to you, and God will provide for you in whatever way that is. You know, continue on that path, and you know when you're on it. You you can feel, if you feel like I'm slipping, it's because you are. If you feel like I am on the path, then you also are. And just I think stick to it, and things will come.
Everyone, Madi Kachi, bro. So
My
good to
man.
have you again. It
Thank
was
you.
a
Thank you.
wonderful conversation. Dude, I love this concept. We're gonna have to elaborate on it.
That's
I
right,
love
man.
it.
It's like we learn as we talk about it too. We discover things. That's why I love coming here.
Absolutely, bro. Well, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed already, what the hell? If this is your first time, then fine, you get a freebie. But if you've watched more than one episode, you owe us a subscribe. Let's just be honest here. So if you enjoy this, thanks so much. Make sure to subscribe, and don't forget our 2 other shows, everyone, exclusively on YouTube, is Talent Agent Talk, and then our brand new show, That Actor Couple, alongside my beautiful wife, Candace Malinowski, also on YouTube, and then also on Spotify and Apple Podcast if you look for That Actor Couple. So be sure to check out those shows as well, and we'll see you all in the next one.